Trojan family, Trojan gang. Fight on forever is in the building. And today we finna talk about this latest commitment. Now I usually don't do commitments on 2026. I wasn't gonna do one on this kid, but I've been hearing what the fans gotta say. And the fans like, I ain't even finna get excited with this one. Me either, man. 2026 is too far away. Like, and even if we didn't have all these decommitments, I would still be skeptical about keeping a 2026 kid, right? And he from Georgia. So these Georgia kids done bailed on us lately. You feel me? The Texas kids, they done held it down, kept their commitment. The Georgia kids been bailing. I don't want to hold that against this kid, but the Georgia kid might look at USC as a play. Might could feel like, okay, this kid is a 5-star. He the number 2 linebacker. He an outside linebacker. I see he gonna be projected as a rush edge. They projected him to play on the line. He like 6'3", 210, right? But I seen Coach Henny is his main recruiter, so he gonna play. He gonna be one of the linebackers that play at the line of scrimmage, basically an edge, right? An edge is just a linebacker who big enough to play at the line of scrimmage if need be and have pass rushing skills, right? So an edge is like a hybrid linebacker / defensive end. And if Coach Henny is his main recruiter, that's where I look at this kid projected. That's must will be where they projected him to be, right? But could this be a play? He's a 5-star. He the number 2 linebacker in the country. Maybe he feel like his offers, maybe he feel like, I know he came on a visit, but maybe he feel like, you know, the other schools ain't showing they want him enough. USC could be a play just to make Georgia ante up. Georgia already mad at Oregon and what Oregon is doing, right? So I know they paying attention to this, and they seen USC snatch up Justice Terry and Isaiah Gibson temporarily, and they got Isaiah Gibson back. Justice Terry still decommitted, right? So I'm pretty sure Kirby Smart is paying attention, and any kid that he lose out of his backyard, especially a top kid, he's going to put the full force on for. And especially if it's USC, right? Because it's like we could flip him, we could negatively recruit against USC easy, right? They far away from home, they bag ain't like ours. So will we be able to keep the kid? I don't know. Like, at this point, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Now, if we win and get our NIL right, now to be honest with you though, by the time this kid get on campus, revenue sharing will be kicking in, and I think revenue sharing kick in next year in the fall, right? Not this year, but next year, right? And that's 2025. So by the time this kid come, revenue sharing will be going into a second season, and USC will have a comparable bag once the revenue sharing get put in place. But USC gonna have to be able to get a little dirty, because other schools like Oregon and Georgia is gonna get dirty. They gonna get dirty. What I mean by getting dirty is they're gonna be funneling their collective money, they charity, they donation money, that field night money, right? See, it's supposed to be a difference. They supposed to be bringing in this revenue sharing, so it ain't pay for play. So every team since the NCAA has lost its power, every team has been playing dirty with the NIL. See, NIL supposed to be endorsement deals that kids are getting, right? It's supposed to be name, image, and likeness endorsement deals that you're brokering for these kids and getting them money, or they could broker that, they could do a deal themselves, right? It don't supposed to be pay for play. It don't supposed to be, oh, if you come to my school, I will give you $400,000, right? And match that under a BS NIL, right? So Oregon, they could bring up any little fake Nike deal and be like, oh, all Oregon players just signed to Nike. They got NIL deals with Nike, right? And Nike is a big company. They could endorse whoever they feel like it, right? So they could hide the pay for play under things like that. With a revenue sharing in the system that they coming with, they're trying to eliminate that, right? Where it ain't pay for play, we bidding on contracts, right? So, but when the revenue sharing kicks in, each team gonna be able to spend 20 to 23 million, like I think up to 23 million on the football roster, right? Now, you know, Oregon, Ohio State, you know they want to keep their advantage. They love that they can offer more than other schools. Their coaches ain't got to be great recruiters or developers, right? It's easy. Dan Lanning, he getting recruits because the money talking, not him. Dan Lanning, he ain't got to be a great leader. He ain't got to be a great motivator. The kids ain't got to love him. They could think Dan Lanning is weird. They still going to Oregon if they about their money. So Oregon and Ohio State still want to get these kids that's about their money, right? But they can't do that if it's a level playing field. So they're going to go beyond the revenue sharing. They're going to tell a player, okay, on paperwork, on revenue sharing, we're going to give you this amount, but we really going to give you this amount. Hush, hush. We're going to slide this under the NIL. So even though every team going to be able to spend 23 million on a roster, them teams still going to get outbid by Oregon because they going to put money on top of that, right? So USC, the university, does have field night money, right? We don't have not one particular donor that probably has field night money and is invested like field night. But the university, USC, I seen a graphic in 2022, USC profited like $6 billion, right? USC is worth billions a year, right? That's what they grossing, right? So if they want to compete with Oregon, they can, but only if we willing to get dirty. But that's the fear. USC is going to fear the NCAA until the NCAA don't even exist no more. And the NCAA is putting in this revenue sharing. They coming with the model of that because long as the NCAA keep creating models to follow and that's progressive, they gonna remain in power. So long as the NCAA exists, I don't think USC is gonna play dirty, right? To be able to keep up, I don't think USC. I think we still gonna be getting outbid, but we'll be able to get players that is willing to sacrifice, maybe 10% of what they can get. So USC might offer a player $2 million, and Oregon they might do 2.5, 3. But some players gonna be like, I'm gonna take this $2 million and go where I want to be. It ain't 3, but it's still up. If I do the right thing, I'm still up, right? So we still gonna be able to offer life-changing money too, right? But if we ain't playing dirty, like our competition is, we still gonna be behind the 8 ball, right? For us to not be behind the 8 ball, we gotta be willing to play dirty. And we all know USC ain't willing to play dirty, right? So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We gotta hope the revenue sharing is enough to where we just don't get outbid for Oregon and Ohio State for all these 5-star guys that we want. The great thing about it is half the 5 stars don't pan out, and it's 3 times more 4 stars that end up being just as good. So what we gonna have to do is get them 4-star players that got star potential that the Oregons and Ohio State and the Texas A&M ain't willing to break the bank for. Because there still is a limit on what you can have on your roster, and they're not going to break the bank on every player, right? So we're going to have to be great at recruiting, great at scouting, and getting them 4-star diamond in the rough stats, not getting a bag through at them, right? A major bag. Not having 4 stars that's not having a bidding war. Like every 5-star is a bidding war, right? Every 4-star is not a major bidding war, right? For some it is. For some it is, right? So I feel like with USC recruiting, if I was USC, because it seems like certain USC prospect is targeted by Texas A&M and Oregon for sure, because they know, okay, if you considering USC, we know we could outbid them. Like we know we could make their money look like dumb money. We know if money your top priority, we could take you away from USC. So what USC need to do is have only silent commits, right? Only silent commits. You know, especially if Oregon and Texas A&M and Ohio State is on their radar, and they got Oregon, Texas, and Ohio State. If they got Oregon, Texas A&M, and Ohio State in their top 3, in their top schools, and they want to commit, we got to keep them silent, because once they commit to USC, they're gonna pump up the volume on that money real quick, right? So we gonna see if USC can keep this kid, right? We gonna see it's gonna be a battle. Like we can't even keep every kid in the 25 class, but we can't be mad at the commitment though. We can't be mad at the commitment. It might stick. You never know. We don't know how USC thinking. We don't know what USC told this kid. Cause if I was USC, every Georgia kid, every kid from, I'll be like, hey, look, don't commit right now, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't commit right now if you ain't sure that you finna stick with this, because at the end of the day, all it do is make USC look bad. Like, if Justice Terry and Isaiah Gibson never committed, and Drake Stubbs, they never committed and then decommitted, right? If they never committed and decommitted, this cloud wouldn't be over the program. The negative vibe about the program wouldn't exist, right? Every recruit we get, it'll be, okay, we gaining momentum. But now, it's looked at as our recruiting is failing horribly. And it's a year away from signing day. And people already feel the recruiting is horrible. So, if I'm USC, I'm gonna, like, don't commit unless you're sure. Like, I'm talking about, I ain't even accepting if USC, I'm not even accepting 2026 commitments from kids that's out of state and from kids that consider Oregon. If Oregon is anywhere, if the big money spenders, Oregon, Texas A&M, and Ohio State, if they're in your top 3 and you really considering them, I don't want a commitment from you. I don't want a commitment from you. Because if these schools feel like they close and they're in your top 3 and top 5, they're gonna throw that bag and outbid. And you probably flip because you're a kid, right? So if you even interested, especially if you interested in Texas A&M, they ain't never won nothing. Why you want to play there? They program, sorry. Oregon, they ain't never won nothing either. They competitive though. I could kind of see why you would look at that. But if a kid is looking at Oregon and Texas A&M, he like, you ain't even really my type of kid, because them schools don't produce NFL talent. They don't have no tradition. They don't have no history, and they don't win nothing. So if you want to go there, you really about your bag, and do I want you if you just about your bag? You hear what I'm saying? So we gonna see if this commitment stick. If I'm USC, I wouldn't even take no commitments though from the 2026. What y'all think? Right? to USC go to solid commit mode if these kids is 5 stars or if they got Oregon and Ohio State, because we can't. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear it. USC in shambles, another decommitment. It's like you trying to sabotage our reputation. Like, don't use us as a negotiation school, and we always known to have kids commit just to decommit. Perception gonna start coming reality, and then a lot of players gonna start doing it. Before I make my decision, let me commit to USC in the meantime, even though I know I ain't going there. But if I commit to USC, they bidding for me. Oregon go send a check. Because Oregon want to keep USC down, and Oregon, they want to put that fence around California. So especially for California players, it's like, bro, don't even commit unless you sure. If you just in the moment, if we just the school that if you had to pick right now, we number one, don't commit. Like, we could be in the league, just tell us, y'all number one right now, don't commit though. And make us look bad when you decommit because somebody else dropped to number one. Commit when you know you don't want to go to none of them other schools where you feel like USC is headed. It's like it ain't even no competition. If it's close, if you chose us before signing day and it's close, and we splitting hairs, don't even commit, because we can't afford the negative press, the negative momentum, the negative vibes. Right? We can't do it. Because if another kid decommit, I'm ready to hurt one of these kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm feeling like when they committed, they knew they wasn't going to stay. I really feel like they using schools for bidding wars. Because USC ain't the only ones that get decommits. Just like the kid who was committed to Oregon, Josiah Sharma. Then he flipped to Texas. How could you change your mind just in 1 month? What did Texas say that quick in a short amount of time to be like, oh no, Texas to play? It feel like family. Didn't it feel like family before? You already knew Sark and them. You already knew the vibes, bro. And these kids be decommitting, acting like they didn't know the vibes. Oh, I decide what's best for me. I think it's what's best for me. Well, bro, why you commit in the first place? Right? You only commit to a school if you have no reason in your mind why you would decommit. If that's because you like another school better, another location better, another campus better, you shouldn't even commit. You only commit when you look at it and be like, this is the only place for me. If you ain't looking at USC as the only place for you, don't commit, bro. And these are to the recruits. Don't commit, bro. We ain't got time. Don't use us. But until then, it's Carter Sports, it's Trojan City, it's USC. So let's go.